Hello there. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Knocks to Nuggets. My name is Oluwayomi Ute, and today I'm just so excited. By the way, happy Mother's Day to every woman out there, every single mother. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for being the cook, the security guard, the electrician, the engineer, the handyman, the teacher, everything. Thank you so much for all you do. I celebrate all mothers. And I just want to celebrate my darling mom. She's gone to be with the Lord, but trust me, she's the best mom anyone could ever have. Every day I remember her, and I can't forget her vegetable soup. Jesus is Lord. So if you go to be with the Lord, what will you be remembered for? Just food for thought as we celebrate mothers today. And I'm so excited I have a mother in the house, a veteran by every standard. My guest this morning is an award winning veteran actress, producer, director, and acting coach. Since 1981, she has worked on the platform of the theater, film, television, and radio. She trained at the Webber Douglas Academy of Dramatic Arts and has a degree in English from University of Lagos. Yeah. She is also an alumnus of the Faith Foundation Lagos. No, today I'll try to behave myself. Having her in the house is no mean feat, so just permit me, but I will try to behave myself. In recent times, she has enjoyed working on Harewood produced and directed by Ifeoma Fafunwa. The stage play has traversed three continents, Europe, America, and Africa, and will have gone to the fourth, which is Australia, but for the pandemic. My guest this morning has featured in many award-winning films and TV shows, and to date, she is the only Nigerian actor to have won 5 Africa Movie Academy Awards, AMA, including the Lifetime Achievement Award, which she got in June 2016. She co-founded Lufudo Group with her husband, specializing in production of drama content since 1986, and an Academy of Performing Arts since 2007. Wow. The company has since January 2022 managed the newly refurbished state-of-the-art Glover Memorial Hall, the oldest theater and event space in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest is the Chairman Board of Trustees, Center of Contemporary Arts, Lagos. And she's also a board member of Lagos State Theatre Festival. My guest is the wife of the very well-known Olu Jacobs. Ladies and gentlemen, in the house today is no other than Auntie Joke herself, Joke Silva in the house. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. So
Wow.
good to see you. Wow, what an introduction. you, you read everything. Yes.
Oh, having you in the house is so amazing. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for agreeing to do this. And
Thank
happy
you.
Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. Yes. Yes.
Thank you for being exemplary. Thank you for blazing the trail. Thank you for being a role model for very many people to look up to. Thank you so much for all you do.
Thank
And I'm
you.
just going to hit at it straight because when I was going to get you in the house, I asked myself, okay, so how did she even get into this industry? And that's my first question. Auntie Joke, how did you get yourself into this industry? Has it been a childhood dream or did you just get into it by chance? How did you get into the industry?
Well, answering your question, I wouldn't even say that much that it was a childhood dream. It was just something I love to do. I love to perform. I love to perform. And my nickname as a child was Showbiz. An aunt of mine used to, she used to call me Showbiz because whenever she came into town, I'd perform for her. And I used to perform for my mother's friends. I'd gather all my friends around and put them in all kinds of costumes and we'd perform.
Wow.
But when I got older, you know how children go, they just decide they want to do so many other things for so many reasons. I wanted to be
Yeah.
a doctor like my mom. I wanted to be a teacher like my aunt. I wanted to be a nurse like another aunt. Anyway, but by the time I finished my A levels, excuse me, I was I took the sciences, which I was really awful at, because I really wanted to do medicine. Um, and then at one point I dropped one of the sciences and then did English, to add to the remaining two sciences that I had. And so in the final year of my A levels, I asked the Lord. I really had to ask the Lord, because I was a bit confused, as to what to do. I mean, my parents, in their, like all parents would do, understanding the kind of industry I was interested in, let me be aware of how hard, how difficult it was likely to be. So I asked the Lord, and I prayed and I asked him. I said, please, help me. Let me know very clearly that this is the industry you want me to go into. Let it be very clear. It shouldn't be. And so I asked him various questions, and he answered the questions so clearly. I could not say that the answer wasn't clear. It was very clear, and it was a very clear yes, that this is where you are, this is the industry that I want you to be in. And so that was it. And I got back home from my A levels. I was late to get into university that year. They had finished all the admissions. So my father said, why don't you use this opportunity to take a year out and see if you can get work in this, your area of interest? And I did, and I got so much work, and I was working all the time. I started work at the University of Lagos Cultural Center, as it was then. Then I was invited to television, NTA Victoria Island. So I was part of their drama group there. And then I was invited to the National Theatre. And so I was part of the performing group at the National Theatre. So I was working, and then also I worked in radio drama. So I was working consistently. So my father said, okay, you can get work here, doing very well. You have to go and train. So after the year out, I went back to England, did my auditions, got into Webber Douglas, and then I finished in Webber Douglas, came back home, and went directly into Mirror in the Sun and Second Chance at the same time. Yeah.
Wow.
That's been my journey. Yes.
A journey. And, okay, I'll tell you a bit of my story. My father is late now, so he can't cane me.
Okay.
Pastor, can you move back a bit? Can you move back a bit so we can see your face?
Yes.
So you can see your
yes,
face.
I'm back. I've moved back. Yeah.
Thank you. Growing up, I loved the media, but my father won't hear it. Say,
Yes.
Media, God forbid, I forbid. You will never. Every lawyer is a liar. Every chief is a thief. He had all those rules, and he will not hear it. And one of the days we got into an argument. Said, if you want me to bless you, this girl, don't go to media. And because of the way media was perceived, when you got into that space, how were you able to navigate your way?
Well, I had mentors, when I got into the industry. I mean, like all young people, you're in a space, and like I said, in my gap year, there really wasn't harassment that you couldn't. Let me put it this way: there wasn't harassment that hadn't happened even before I went into the industry. That's what I mean. Okay. I mean, people chase you,
Yes.
young, old,
Mm,
and you just say no. You know, nothing was such that it was career defining. Do you
mm,
get? You could
yes.
it was easy to say no, not interested, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and you went out with whoever you were interested in. It was never, you know, a career pressure thing. Do you get what I mean?
Yes, I do.
um and then I must say I was very lucky with one of my mentors, who Lola Fanikayode. You know, she was a mentor for me, and she was an incredible guide. And she just, yes. So there was, to be honest, I didn't have all that. I didn't have those pressures. No, no.
Wow. Awesome. So
Yes,
for all the ladies
yes.
out there, you can navigate without those pressures. And
Yes, you can. You can.
every
Sorry, let me also add this. I also believe that there's some work that, if that's the insistence of getting the job, it's better to walk away. Do you understand? It's better to
yeah.
walk away, because that means that work is not for you,
Mm,
and trusting that God will get you what is yours. And
mm.
there's this saying we have in Yoruba, that there's nothing that is for you that will, the water that is for you will not flow past you.
True, man. True.
Yeah.
True. Wow. I hear a few things you've said. I hear
Yes.
passion,
Oh,
and I
okay.
hear, and just when I was going to ask you, is passion enough? I heard you say train. We are in a time and a season today, Auntie Joke, where people want to get it fast. We want it like microwave. How did you, let me ask, what are the keys that kept you going? Because you have been consistent and consistently good over the years, mirror in the sun. I mean, I said, Joke, everyone like, Yomi, are you sure Joke Silva is coming? Are you sure you're getting Auntie Joke? She has been the name we have known for forever, and you have stayed consistent at the cutting edge. How have you done it?
I think I'll backtrack to the question that you asked about passion and training. It's good to have passion, all right.
Mm.
But this industry can be so hard; it can kill your passion. It can kill your It can be a really, really tough industry.
Wow.
Um, but the thing is that then comes the you know survival. You must be able to survive. You must be able to eat. You must be able to clothe yourself, to live. Live decently, and so you then have to strategize about how to do that. For a lot of my mentees, I tell them that, okay, what I have noticed with other creatives is that the Lord allows you to have one main area of expression, but then you have other areas of expression as well. So you can explore those other areas of expression. Now, this is where training is very important. When you train, when you go for training, you then find those other areas of expression that you have, that you could be interested in. Whilst I was in drama school, my main focus was acting. That was my major. But then I found that I was very interested in directing. I was very interested in producing. I was actually very interested in makeup as well. I was very good at makeup. I was very, very good at makeup. I was useless at lighting. I used to get, very nervous with lighting. I didn't enjoy lighting at all. So I knew that technical theater wasn't really my strong point. But but the artistic aspect of theater, of our industry, was a very strong point for me. So training does that for you. Now, the other thing I'm going to say about training, and I'll jump which now, sorry, I'll just backtrack very quickly. So there was a time when work really dried up. So what I did was to then start teaching elocution and drama in schools. I taught in drama in primary schools. I taught in secondary schools, and by the time I stopped teaching, and we then moved from teaching in those schools to setting up our own Academy of Performing Arts. I had a team that I was working with. So sometimes I'd have classes in Atlantic Hall in Maryland at the time. That was where they were. And I'd also at the same time have classes in Corona, Apapa. So if I didn't have a team, there was no way I could do it. But it was a full-fledged business, and I was still doing what I enjoyed, so that I was earning well. So it's a case of that, you focus and you strategize and you work out, what to do in whatever season. And then the work started coming again, which was good. So, but the other thing I'd like to say is this, because there's this misconception that once you train, you are now the best actor that can be found anywhere. Not true. There's no actor out there, no successful actor out there who will not tell you that after your training, it will then take you probably another 14 years of working consistently on the various platforms to then say, yes, now I am a competent actor. In those years when, because it's all still part of your training, in those years whilst you're still training, what you then need is to be in the hands of very competent directors, and so that they can then, which is why I was very, very nervous of our early years in Nollywood, where you had actors who were training under directors who were training under lighting who were trained. Everybody was training, and yet we were putting all our stuff out there, So, but of course, so what they were doing at that time, in those early years, they were training as well, until they now became competent. Yes.
Wow. Yes. When you said the industry pressure can kill your passion, I almost fell off my chair. Because when we see you on the stage, it looks so easy, so sweet, so happy-go-lucky that I can do this. It looks so simple. But I'm hearing from you is hard work.
It is. It's a lot of hard work. From when you get your script, and then it depends on which platform. When you get your script for theater, which is where I really have done a lot of work. I've done a lot of work in theater. You work on your script, you analyze your character, you have an idea of what your character is. And then you work with the other actors, you work with your director. But now, what if you go and then for theater, the final ingredient, sorry, let me backtrack. For theater, you have like several weeks of rehearsal. So sometimes between the standard is between 4 and 6 weeks of rehearsal. If it's a musical, sometimes it can be a bit longer. And so you can probably have about 8 weeks of rehearsals for a new musical. And then you get into performance, and the audience becomes the final ingredient, because the audience help you adjust your character. Depending on how they react to how you perform, there are some adjustments that will then come, and that's the final ingredient. So that's fun, and you get all the feedback. It's fantastic, and you're on top of your game. But then when it comes to film is a totally different ball game. Each shot for the camera it's not, you're not just then acting. Yes, you understand your character, but your performance for each shot is different. If it's a close-up, if it's a medium shot, if it's a long shot, how you perform for each of the shots is different, you know. And it takes training to be able to. It takes training. It takes it, like all fields. There's a lot of continuous learning that needs to go on. Now, for instance, if you now look at radio, and for us, there's radio drama, but then there's also animation. Radio drama and animation, they're very similar because it's voice acting. Now it's your voice that's doing all the acting. And the thing is that you will find that with that, okay, you have an idea. Most of the time, your other characters are not with you. It's just you. And you find that you have an idea of how the character should sound. Yet, when you're in the recording booth, the director is asking you for several takes of one line. Picks out that line, you do several takes, and the line that he will pick is probably not the way you had imagined that the character was going to be, but that's the line he's going to take. And so, and for animation, that's sometimes the way it is recorded. They record it in lines. You're not all together as performers. Nope. So it's each platform is different. And when you say, so I guess that's what, so constant, you train, but don't think you have finished training. And then how you, and for us in performance, each platform, how you prepare for each platform is totally different.
Hell, Auntie Joke, with all of this, how have you coped? Being a wife, a mother, a successful person on stage, how have you survived it?
Well, I think, first of all, I had very good role models. Growing up, there were very few women that I knew who were not working mothers. My mother was one. She was a medical doctor. She was one of the earliest female medical doctors that we would have. She also worked in the public health sector for a long time. So she was in work, and her work a lot of times required her to travel quite a bit. And so what tended to happen when she traveled was I'd stay with relatives, and that was really fun. It extended my network of what I would call they have become my sisters. I grew up with them, and it wasn't that I went to their house to play. I lived with them when my mother traveled, and so and even though the families I lived with, all the mothers were working, so we were used to, our role models were working women. And so with them as role models, you saw how they navigated it. Most of them were civil servants, so they got home at a particular time, they were home at a particular time, and they were always about and how they navigated, how they made sure that the household was fed. None of them, I must say, none of them did it without support. So for us, for my own generation, when we started having our families, it never occurred to us not to have support and not to have dependable support. So my support system, apart from the house helps that I have, was when my children were growing up, and I had to work. My support system, my house helps, then my relatives. My mother was always there. My mom and dad, they loved having the children with them, and my in-laws also were very, very supportive. The support system is very key. Now, one of the things that I also learned from all my role models, my mother, my aunties, we never changed our house helps like we were changing knickers. The way we were brought up to treat house helps was like members of the family. So there are very few, like I've had my the house help that I have now, my who has graduated into being my cook. She's been with me for over 20 something years. My the only the household assistant that was a bit of a challenge were drivers, because there was a time I was just changing my driver's and for one reason or the other. So I just went on my knees one day and I said, Lord, just bring me the kind of driver that would say I'm not used to this kind of, and yeah. And then I got a driver that's been with me for young. It's almost going on to 10 years now. We even have one. My son's driver used to be my mother's driver, who is now graduated into my son's driver. So that's how we are. Yes, we because that support system for your family is very important. And if you treat if you become a household, it's for your own benefit, so that you can move on. You can go ahead and do whatever work you have to do with a peaceful heart and focus, and you can focus on your work. Yes. And then finally, one of the things that I also would like to say is that I don't think you can be everything all at the same time. We're very lucky in this age of technology because you have the phone. You can put cameras in your home, and then you can monitor what is going on in your home with the phone. But you will find, at least that has been my journey, that there are times when your husband is the person that needs attention right now, and you focus on your husband. Sometimes it's the children that you both need to focus on, so you focus on the children. And then there are times when it's your career that needs, sometimes it can be two things at once, and then you'll just have to let another take second place. As life happens, as you go through your journey of life, you'll be able to sort out which one needs the attention. But I think it's important that you do not let whatever needs attention slide simply because you want to do everything at the same time. Whatever needs attention must get the attention.
Wow, whatever needs the attention must get the attention.
Get the attention, yes.
And okay, you are so right. Getting the right support. I mean, you say you don't just change ourselves anyhow. The way we treat those people matter a lot. But Auntie Joke, I know that you have something doing, and I promise not to overstretch. So I'm going to try. I'm containing myself in this time frame. But I must ask you this. Your husband and yourself are in the same industry, and you are both icons. How?
God's grace. God's grace. we both allowed each other to be. There have been some difficult times in the journey. There were times when he was working, I just couldn't get work, and then there were times when I was working and he just couldn't get work. And when those things first happened, it was so frustrating for the other party. How come you are getting, and it would create a bit of jealousy. But over the years, when it was like a cycle, a cyclical thing, we said, okay, that's the way. So one of the things which I thank God because of his experience, we started our production company pretty early. So, when we're not working as actors, we're creating work for ourselves through our production company. Yes. So that has been the way we have navigated over the years work-wise. And it's letting each other, in our journey, we have learned. It's been a learning process to let each other express themselves in the way they feel most, most comfortable, and would allow the person to reach their fullest potential. So it's to be a support for each other. I mean, he's been my greatest support. And I also tried as much as I was able to support him too in his career. We've always been like that. We've always been like that. Yes.
Wow. This would be my maybe second to the last.
Okay.
Would you now, looking at the way the industry has been and has changed from the time you joined and now, would you say that it's easier now to get into the industry, or was it easier in your time? Comparing the things that have happened, technology has happened. I mean, the pace with change is occurring has happened. Is it easier now, or was it easier then?
I think then it was a bit easier because there really wasn't that much work. There were not that many people in the industry. And sometimes there were a lot of people who would come in, and then the lack of work, they would leave and go on to other pastors just to make sure that they could, they could put food on the table. And when they got into the other areas, they now found that, okay, I'm very comfortable here. It's, I'm very comfortable knowing that at the end of the month there is a paycheck coming in, or when if they were entrepreneurs, the amount of money they were making was way more than what they would make in our business, so they just stayed there. So there were not many people in the industry, so when there was work, there was a small pool of people to choose from for the work. But now, which I think is even so much better, there's so much work. There is so much work. If you're not working in theater, you're working in film. If you're not working, and then and then the film. If you're not working in film, you're working in television. And then there's so many there's streaming platforms there. There's what you call this online work. There are films that you do for YouTube.
Yeah.
So there are just so many platforms for expression, and so there's a lot of work, and so it's much easier. When I say it's much easier, it's easier to now stay within the industry. All right, it's easier to stay within the industry. Theater of all of them is the one that's still struggling, but it's definitely going to get better. It's going to get better because we have the spaces. We need more spaces. But I believe we will get those spaces. Once you have spaces to work in, the work will come. Yes.
Wow. Auntie Jackie, I can keep going on. I still have plenty questions. I have a book full here, things to ask, but I'm going to let you go because I promise, and I will keep my word, so that when I want to have you back, I can have you back.
Yes.
My final question before I let you go. What would be your advice to the younger generation? Would you say this industry is still lucrative, or will you say think twice? What would be your advice, upcoming generation?
Okay, if you're coming into the industry, just work, because it's through work people will get to know you, and it is through work that you build your network. It's very important that you build that network, because it's that network that helps to help you have people in the room when you're not in the room, who then can suggest you. And it's so important that when you're working, you are very disciplined about your work. You arrive on time. You always put your best foot forward all the time, as much as is humanly possible. And then you get to a point where you then become the flavor of the month. That's what it, this is when everybody knows you, everybody acknowledges the fact that you are an incredible talent. Now, that is the time when you try and make sure that you optimize your earning power. You push your earning power as high as you can, because the time when you are not, another flavor of the month is going to come. It's definitely going to come. So you have created, for the industry, there is a cadre to which you belong, that people will not fall too far below, even when you are not flavor of the month. Because, and then that flavor of the month is a cyclical thing as well. You'll be flavor of the month for this season, and then another season will come. We are not flavor of the month. There are new entrants. There are new writers who don't see you as their muse, and then this season will come round again, and you become flavor of the month again. And they see you as their muse, as someone that expresses what it is, that the story that they're trying to tell. And so
Wow.
it's yes. So that is my advice. Do as much work as possible, and do your work to the best of your ability. You're only as good in our industry. You're only as good as your last job. That's what he said. Yes, and let people have a good experience of you, so that they will always want to have you on their set.
Thank you so much, Auntie Joke. I will not keep you
Thank you.
longer. Thank you so much.
Thank
Somebody
you. Thank
said,
you for
can
having
the
me.
young ones come to your training school?
Can what?
Can the young ones come to your training school?
Yes, we will get there. But right now, what we have is the acting. The focus is on acting, and acting for film and television, acting for the camera.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
and our intakes have to be graduates of theater arts. So we know that you have that theater background. It's very important for us. And then we'll now show you how to transition for camera. Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ma. You will have to
Thank
come
you.
again. I'm going to let you go
I would
today.
love to. I've enjoyed myself. Thank you for having me.
I truly appreciate it. And happy Mother's Day once again. Thank you
Happy
for all
Mother's
you.
Day.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much, ma'am. God bless you, ma'am.
Bye. Bye.
Wow, wow, wow. Did you enjoy that? I just couldn't stop writing. A big thank you to Auntie Joke for just being real, telling us just the way it is. And everything she said here, you can apply it to whatever area, whatever sector you're in. It's not only for the entertainment industry. There are principles and they work everywhere. Remember, always put your best foot forward. If you remember that, you can never fail. Trust me, you will always succeed. It's been wonderful. It's been amazing having Auntie Joke in the house. And everybody, thank you so much for giving me a share of your time. Like I will always say, please like the video, share it, let somebody out there know that there is something called Knocks to Nuggets. Now, next week, we'll be talking about when is it okay to quit. I know quitters never win, winners never quit. But is there a time to quit? Quit what? Discover everything next week when I come into your space again with when is it all right to quit. And until I come your way next week, same time, same station, don't forget it. If you can think it, you can be it, and you can have it. And as always, together we win. God bless you. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. And bye for now.